Hey, it's El Apogeo here. I wanted to make a quick video on the rules of the Kyber Cup 2 Duo Division bracket stage. We just went over the first week of the tournament, which was the group stage, and we went through a lot of exciting matches and got 48 teams narrowed down to 24. So I'm going to go over the rules really quick, and then I'll go over the teams that remain and some other extraneous stuff that I want to explain. So the bracket stage of the tournament is double elimination. That means that a team will have to lose 2 series to be officially eliminated from the bracket. Everyone starts off in the winner's bracket, and then each time a team loses a series, they get pushed into the loser's bracket. And then once they lose in the loser's bracket, that's when they're out. The loser's bracket will commence, and the winner of the loser's bracket will actually have a chance to get back into the winner's bracket and compete to win the whole thing. Teams will have 24 hours to arrange a time with their opponent and a tournament organizer to play each series in the bracket stage. That timeline right now is tentative. I'm putting 24 hours because I want the tournament to continue to progress and not stall. But I understand that people are busy and stuff like that, so I'm willing to bend that rule somewhat if the need arises. With enough numbers, if enough teams can fail to make that 24-hour mark, I will bend that rule, because I just don't want to have a bunch of results determined by forfeitures, people not being able to meet that 24-hour timeline. Okay, so on to the rules of a series. How a series is determined is the first team to win 2 battles against their opponents win the series. The exception to this is for the semifinals and the final rounds. For the semifinal and final rounds, the first team to win 3 battles will be the winners. For the rest of the rules regarding series are the same. It's just everything prior to the semifinals, you have to win 2 games. Everything, the semifinals and the finals, you have to win 3. Okay, so how to pick who is playing what first. When you're looking at the bracket, the team listed closer to the top of the bracket, so you read from top to bottom. The team listed closer to the top of the bracket will play the Rebels in their first game. The team listed second will play Empire and will host that game. So what that means is if you're listed second on the bracket against your opponent, you will host the battle as Empire, and then both Rebel players will join your game, and then your Empire teammate will join to start the game. So that's the Empire always, in this tournament, the Empire will always host the game, and will always be the one to start the game with a second person joining. If a game ends in a draw, so if game 1 ends in a draw, for example, then it will be replayed until a team wins. So in effect, draws do not count in this tournament. You have to continue to play the game until somebody wins. With that faction matchup, but you are allowed to switch decks and legendaries between games even if there's a draw. So let's say Team A plays against Team B. Team A is playing Empire. Team B is playing Rebel, right? Game 1 is a draw, so Team A will still play Empire in the replay of Game 1. And Team B will still play Rebel, but they can switch up their heroes and they can switch up their decks so that they can switch up their strategies and whatever they want to do. So hopefully they don't draw again. That is allowed to switch your decks and your legendaries, just not your faction until somebody wins the game. Once a team wins, the teams will then swap factions to play game 2. And again, Empire will host the game. Rebels will both join, and then the last Empire will join to start the game. Again, if the game ends in a draw, it will be replayed until a team wins. And again, players are allowed to switch decks in between games. If in the event that after 2 games the result is tied, like Team A won game 1 and Team B won game 2, then they'll progress to play game 3. If game 3 is needed to break a tie, the team with the most turrets taken in the previous 2 games will choose their faction. If that turret count is equal, if they both took the same amount of turrets in the 2 games, then teams will play sets of 2 matches, alternating factions until that tie is broken. So what the turret tie count is broken. So what that means is, let's say in game 1, Team A gets 3 turrets. In game 2, Team B gets 2 turrets. So that means that Team A has a 1 turret lead, and will get to pick their faction for game 3. They can play, they'll pick Empire, for example, and then that's their advantage for having a turret lead. But if in game 1 Team A had 3 turrets, and in game 2 Team B got 3 turrets, and they were tied in the amount of turrets they were able to take over the series, then instead of just playing 1 game to decide the winner, you will play the teams will play 2 games, where again the team listed top will play Rebels, and then the team listed bottom will play Empire for the first game of that 2-game set, and then they'll swap, and then they'll continue playing 2-game sets where they faction swap until somebody has a turret lead. So once that turret lead is acquired, that team will win the series. Okay, so last rule, winning teams must submit a screenshot of the match results screen with a dex displayed for the results to be official. So at the end of your match, please submit a screenshot that shows the result of the match and also everyone's dex to me or another tournament organizer for your match to be recognized as an official result. Failure to do so could disqualify that match, and you'll have to redo it. And that's it. That's the rules of the bracket. If anyone has any questions, leave a comment here, reach me out on Discord, and I'll be happy to clarify. And now I'm just going to go ahead and go over some of the other fun things. So here is the actual bracket. You can see here that there's a round 1 and there's already teams in round 2. What happened was, in the group stage, the teams that finished in the first place of their group were given a bye of round 1, and they advanced immediately to round 2. And in round 1, you see all the 2 and 3 seeds from each group mixed up. It's not that none of them are playing the same people from their own group, so they're playing teams from other groups. But seeds 2 versus seeds 3 are grouped together to duke it out in round 1. So we've got, I don't even know how to pronounce this, but, well, okay, I won't go over the names, but, yeah, so you see there's 24 teams remaining, and then when these, after the conclusion of round 1, the winners will advance to round 2, and the losers will go to the losers bracket. And they'll be seated in the losers bracket, but they won't actually have a match to play until round 2 is complete, and the losers from round 2 will then also fill in the rest of the losers bracket, and the losers bracket will commence. But you can see here, the winner of the losers bracket will go ahead and meet in the finals here against the winner of the winners bracket, and that'll determine who wins the final tournament. So again, you have to be eliminated twice. You have to lose a series in the winners bracket and then a series in the losers bracket to actually be out of the tournament. Another fun thing we're doing is we're doing predictions. So in the link that I'll post in the description, you can look at the bracket, you can look at the rules, all that kind of good stuff. And in addition to that, you can see, there's going to be a button up here where you can click and actually submit a prediction. It's kind of like March Madness for college basketball or whatever. You can actually predict the results of the winner and losers bracket. And everyone's willing, it's free to participate in. You can submit your predictions. The end time for your predictions is when the first game of the tournament is played, which will be sometime after the release of patch 1.6 on Thursday. So you can make predictions up to then, and everyone's willing to is able to join. And yeah, that's basically it. It's just a little bit of a fun little meta game to play for those of you who everyone's willing is able to participate, whether you're in this tournament or not. And it's just something fun to kind of engage the viewers more. For this bracket stage, we will have much more coverage in terms of streaming the replays. The group stage, there was too many games. There were up to 90 games in the group stage to cover, and that was just too much for our small team to cover. But I believe with the lesser amount of games played in the bracket stage and the more organized schedule, we'll be able to capture most, if not all, of the matches via streaming. So stay tuned for that too. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave me a comment or catch me on Discord, and I'll be happy to answer. Good luck to all of you in the tournament, and good luck to all of you who want to make predictions.